Good morning. It's Amy here at Fit and Fierce over 40. Happy Monday. Okay, are you guys ready today? We are doing a stretch class. Yay for stretch class. Okay, so one of my favorite classes to teach is the stretch because you know what? Not a lot of people spend time stretching. So this is really important for all of us, and I've got a few pieces of equipment that you may or may not have. However, I do want to show you these are potential pieces of equipment to help you with your stretch, because sometimes we can't sit with our legs crossed, and these are just props that you can use to help you along the way so you can be a little bit more comfortable and not feel like you're in pain when you're stretching. Because when you're stretching, you should not be in pain. It should just be a slight gentle pull where you're still able to breathe normally, and that's really important. Okay, so if you're on here live, please come say hi and tell me who you are, because I actually can't see the names on here because I'm streaming in from a different app. So I've got a foam roller, potential equipment for stretching. I've got blocks. These are also very good if you feel like you're lacking some ability to, let's say, bend forward and touch the floor. These can come very handy as well. I've used these before in other classes. Is the tune-up balls. Okay, I don't know if you can see. They're just 2 balls in a little mesh bag. Of course, it doesn't have to be by tune-up balls. You can get them anywhere. You can even get 2 lacrosse balls and stick it in the sock as well. They will be a little bit firmer. And the purpose of these tune-up balls is they're specifically sized to feel like a thumb pressure. And that's why it's the size that they are. However, I also have this other pieces of equipment that are developed by a chiropractor here in Toronto. I think his name is Dr. Cohen, if I'm not mistaken. He was actually over at our house doing a demo. And these are, I don't know if you can see, rollers. And you can use this on your back. I've got a slightly bigger ball with little nubs on here, and then a smaller piece, a smaller one as well. That can also be a good pieces of equipment for stretching. So let's get started. So we're going to start in just some little bit of mobility first. So let's stand with your legs hip width apart, shoulders back and down. And you always want to make sure neutral spine. So when you're standing, you want to be looking straight ahead this way. As your hip hinge forward, your eyes start looking towards the top edge of your mat. My spine is still neutral. Roll your shoulder blades back and down. Inhale into a cat. So that means tucking your tail, tucking your chin all the way in. And then exhale, reaching your collarbone up towards the ceiling as well as your tailbone. Inhale into a cat. And exhale into a cow. So when you're in this position, you want to make sure your shoulders are back and down. And you can go as quick as slow as you like. I like to go a little slower because I want you guys to think about feeling the articulation of your spine. Inhale into a cat. And if one direction bothers you too much, like into your low back, just try not to overextend yourself. Good. And then last one, inhale into a cat and exhale into a cow. Yeah. And you want to think about reaching your collarbone up. So this way it's less into your low back. Let's find neutral. Keeping your hands nice and light on those thighs. You want to wag your tail to the left, look to your left. Wag your tail to the right, look to your right. Okay, so now we're bending our spine sideways. Yeah, we're just going to do a little bit of mobility here before we begin our stretch. Yeah, exhale, inhale, center. Exhale the other direction. Keeping those shoulders down away from those ears. Let's go 3. Let's go 2. And 1. Good stuff. Come on up. Roll those shoulders. Okay, we're going to do some hips here. If we have time for other stuff, we can do some other stuff as well. And the reason we want to focus on hips is because they tend to be really, really, really tight on most women. Okay? So let's start at the back here. With your legs nice and wide, hands up. I want you to walk. You can use your blocks here. Okay? So the highest block would be the length, the highest block here. If you don't need that much height, you can grab down a little bit lower and then obviously down on the floor. So walk yourself down into a plank. Okay, and then step forward with your left leg and then drop your right hip down. Okay, so make sure your shoulders are down away from those ears. So you're in a bit of a runner's lunge. And again, if this is too intense, you can move your blocks up a little bit higher. If it's not intense enough for you, not enough of a stretch, you can have your hands down on the floor. Good. Letting that hip drop. Good. Shoulders back in there. Try not to let your head hang here. And then drop that back knee down. Come on up into another lunge position. You want that back toe tucked under and this front leg slightly more forward. And you want your legs hip width apart so you don't feel like you're going to tip over. All right, tuck your tail under and then press your hip forward. So you're going to get a stretch in your right hip flexor here. Yeah, and if you want a little extra, squeeze that right butt cheek. Take the next inhale, exhale, release, and lunge forward a little bit. So make sure it's not into your low back. You want to keep that spine in that neutral position. So it's not about how far you can get your body forward. It's more about feeling that stretch in the hip flexor. Okay, ladies? Yeah, keep your eyes on the horizon. Good. So we're getting kind of like 2 hip stretches all at once. All right, let's sweep those hands back down. Grab your blocks if you need them. Lift that back knee back up into the air. Step back with your left leg. Step forward with your right leg. Make sure it's outside of your hand or as close to it as possible. And then lower that left hip, keeping those shoulders down away from those ears. Keeping those eyes slightly forward to the top edge of the mat. Yeah, so feeling that stretch in that left hip flexor now. Yeah, make sure you're still breathing. Neutral spine here, ladies, so don't let your head drop. Okay, looking slightly forward. Always think neutral spine. I think I did a little segment on neutral spine just a few weeks ago. Yeah, I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. Feel free to go back and look at those videos because this is important stuff. All right, drop that back knee down. Come on up. Okay, make sure your legs are hip width apart. So if you need to step your left knee a little wider, you can. And you might need to double up on your knee if this is too firm for you. All right, tuck that tail under. Walk that right foot forward just a little bit and then press your hip forward. And you should feel another stretch here in the hip flexor. Good. Get breathing through. Keeping your eyes on the horizon. Grow tall in your spine. Make sure your shoulders are level and make sure they're not rotated. Oftentimes we're slightly rotated. Point those shoulders forward. Point those hips forward. Yeah. Squeeze that left butt cheek as an option. Give it a nice little squeeze. Hold that squeeze for 3, 2, 1. Release and lunge a little bit more forward to get a little bit more of a stretch through that left hip flexor. We're going to do this twice, only because we're really tight here. All right, and release. Sweep those hands back down. Use those blocks if you need them. Lift that back knee back up. Step back with the right leg. Step forward with the left leg. Drop that left hip back down. So remember, push down on those blocks or on the mat. Keep your neck nice and long. Neutral spine. Good. And then drop that back knee back down. Okay, remove the blocks. Let me just adjust my knee here so it's a little bit wider apart. Tuck that tail under and then press your hip forward. Yeah. Keep those shoulders facing forward. Keep your hips facing forward. Oftentimes they're so tight, they want to be rotated to the right. Rotate your hips so they're all pointing forward in front of you. Yeah, squeeze that, where are we? Right butt cheek. Grow. Squeeze that right butt cheek, grow nice and tall. Hold that squeeze, hold it for 3, 2, 1, and release and press forward just a little bit more. Make sure it doesn't get into your low back. You want to still be upright. We're aiming for close to 90-degree angle in the knee joints and up towards the spine. So you should kind of look like a chair, okay? You don't want to be here, and you don't want to be back here. You want to be nice and tall. Yeah, how's that feel? Release that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. All right, sweep those hands back down. Grab those blocks if you need them. Press that knee back up. Step back. Step forward. Drop that back knee. Did we do this twice already? I can't remember now. Too busy talking, that's what happens. Okay, tuck that tail under. Press your hip forward. Good. Nice little stretch. That's it. Squeeze that left butt cheek. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. And release. Sweep those hands back down. Step back with your right leg. Make sure your legs are nice and wide. And then walk yourself back. And while we're here, keeping those knees slightly soft, and your legs should be either hip width apart or slightly wider. You can have your blocks if you like, and just letting yourself hang down here. So keeping your knees soft. So you're getting that nice lengthen through the back side. Just let your head hang here, letting your body weight fold forward, breathing through. Good. That's it. Hold it there. Just a little bit longer because it feels good. If this is too intense without the blocks, you can have your hands up on the blocks if that's better for you. Good, and breathing through. That's it. And then keeping those knees soft and slowly rolling yourself up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's grab a seat. I'm just going to move my screen down a little bit. And if you're watching replay, make sure you type in replay for me. I would love to know if you're enjoying these stretch classes. Okay, sitting with your legs crossed. Yes, I know this can be tough for some women. A little stain here on my pants. Okay, sitting with your legs crossed. If this is uncomfortable and you can't sit with your legs crossed, there's a couple of options. One, sitting on a block can help with sitting with your legs crossed. Okay, that's option one. Option two is having the blocks underneath your knees here. Can also be an option to give you some support so it's not too intense. Okay, if this bothers your knee, sitting cross-legged may not be for you. Okay, so we're sitting here. So this is option one, sitting with your legs crossed. Option two is your half lotus. Okay, and then option three would be to sit with your knees as closely stacked above one another as possible. So you can see that mine are not perfectly aligned, and that's okay. The idea is not so much where your knees are aligned, but keeping your sit bones on the floor or on the block or on a cushion even, okay? So you can already feel, regardless of which option you took, that you should feel a nice stretch. So in my case here, I've got my left leg over my right leg. So if you have your left leg over your right leg, that means you're getting a nice stretch through the left side of your hips. Okay, so make sure you're comfortable. So this is level one. If this feels good to you and it's not cutting off your breath, you can stay here. Option two would be to lean slightly forward and bringing your hands forward so you feel supported. And the idea here is to make sure your sit bones are still on your mat. If your left hip is lifting, you've gone too far. You got to even out the weight on those sit bones and then leaning slightly forward. So remember that you should still be able to breathe. Yeah, it's important. And another option they like to give is adding a little shake from side to side. If this is too intense, don't do it. It should feel good. Yeah. Take a nice big deep breath and a big exhale. And a deep breath in. As you exhale, mind you release all of your weight and sink your weight into the mat and exhale. Good. And slowly walk yourself back up. Bring your hands behind, untangle those legs, and give it a little shake. Good. How's that feel? Delicious? For some people, yes. For some, not so much. Okay, so next one, you got to do the other direction. Okay, so right now, my right leg is going to be over my left leg. Okay, so same five options. Sitting on a block, having your blocks tucked under your knees, sitting with your cross leg, half lotus, or trying to stack those knees. It doesn't matter, right, what you can or can't do. It's all relative. As long as you feel that stretch, it's really what we're aiming for. Because I know a lot of times when I teach classes, I can't do that. You know, yeah, there's lots of options, and it doesn't matter which option you take. Okay, so don't get too hung up on what somebody else is doing versus what I'm doing, right? So keeping those sit bones on the floor, grow tall, option one, staying right here. Okay, relax those hips. Option two is to drop your chest and walk your hands forward. Option three would just mean like bring your hands behind and letting all of your weight fall forward. That could be too intense. and you don't want it to be too intense. You just want a nice, gentle stretch. Yeah, let's breathe. Take a nice big deep breath in. And a big exhale, and relax your body weight. Sink into the mat. Yeah, take a deep breath in. And a big exhale. How's that feeling? Let me know how that's feeling for you. Does it feel good? Good stuff. And slowly walk yourself up. Sweep those hands behind. Untangle those legs. And give it a little shake. Good. Okay, so we're going to do a little spinal twist here. Bring one leg in. Okay, so you want to, I'm going to show it to you this way so you can see the full length of my body here. Extending that leg out. Okay, keeping your toes, right now my left leg is extended, bring your toes to your nose. Hug your right knee with your left arm. Okay, so a lot of times we hear rounded spine. You want to be tall. Grow tall in your spine. Whoops, wrong. Yeah, this is the right way. Yep, so right knee into your chest. Left arm hugs the right knee. Grow tall in your spine. Take your right arm, sweep it around behind you. Open up your chest, draw those shoulders back and down, keeping that your left toes to your nose. And look behind you. And breathe, feeling the breath through your right side of your rib cage. And a big exhale. And release. Let's switch sides. Okay? So don't worry about where your knee is, as long as you're hugging your knee. This might not, hugging your thighs right at your chest might not be possible, and that is okay. Grow tall in your spine, bring your toes to your nose, hug that left knee with your right arm, sweep that left arm around, open up your chest, look behind, keep your shoulders down away from those ears, and take a nice big deep breath in, and a big exhale. One more deep breath in, and a big exhale, and release. Good. So extend those legs out, give it a little shake, and we're going to stretch out the fronts of the legs. So you've got a couple of options here, so let me show them to you. First option is to bring one leg back, up on your hands, down on your elbows, or onto your spine, okay? This is definitely harder on your knees, so if you don't have that flexibility through your knees, or if it's too painful, this is the better option here, and you can use a yoga strap or a towel to assist you. So you're lying on your side, grabbing onto the tops of your shoelaces. Okay, so this one here, you have to be careful. A lot of times we get into our low back when we shouldn't. You want to extend your hips forward. Okay, don't arch your back. Just press your hips forward, and then slowly, gently bring your heel to your bum. And ideally, if your leg is up really high, that's okay, but try to bring your knee a little closer towards the midline of your body. Yeah, so you should feel a nice little stretch on the front of your legs. Yeah, do they feel tight? Yeah, maybe a little bit, huh? When was the last time you stretched? Let me know. Was it yesterday? The day before? Was it a week ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? And we'll gently release that leg, okay? We're going to turn over onto our back first before we switch sides, so don't let me forget that. All right, let's do a figure four. Take that same leg that you just stretched, cross it over into a figure four. This is where I don't have a strap or a towel, but if you have those two pieces of equipment and you need them, you want to hook them behind your other knee, and then bring your opposite knee in towards your chest. Yeah, draw those shoulders down away from those ears. Allowing your body to sink into the mat. Take a nice deep breath in. And a big exhale. Deep breath in. And a big exhale. And gently release that bottom leg all the way to the floor. Stay where you are. Take that same leg, cross it over to the other side. Another spinal twist, this time on your mat. And remember, guys, the idea here with your spinal twist on the mat is to make sure both your shoulders are on the floor or as close to it as possible. Okay? If your opposite shoulder is lifting, you've over-rotated. Okay? And try to relax those hips. Take your eyes to the other side. Extend your opposite arm out. And release. Good stuff. All right, let's try the other side. Take the other leg, cross it over into a figure four. Grab your strap or towel if you need it. Bring that bottom leg in towards your chest. Give it a nice big hug. Remember here, so when we do this stretch here, guys, a lot of times the one hip is hiked up towards our armpits. You want to feel elongated on both waists. Okay, so if you feel like right now my left leg is over my right leg, your left hip wants to hike up. Try to push your left hip down a little bit. Elongate that left hip so it feels equal to the right hip. Okay? There you go. And if you want it slightly more intense, flex that top foot. Flex, that means toes to the knees. Does that make sense? So in this case, it's my left toe is flexed back. Yeah. Take a nice big deep breath in and a big exhale and gently release that bottom leg all the way to the floor. Take that top leg, come into that spinal twist on the other side. Good. Remember, try to keep both shoulders on the floor. If they're not, you've over-rotated. Good. Breathing through. Take a nice big deep breath in. As you exhale, relax your entire body and release. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. Let me turn around so make sure I'm facing you guys. All right, so you're lying on your side. Grabbing onto the tops of your foot. Press your hip forward and bring that top leg towards the midline. Yeah, if you have knee problems, this is definitely a better stretch than the one where you're seated when bending your knee back. Okay. Holding it there, breathing through, and release. Good. All right, so we're going to stretch up the hips a little more. You will need your foam roller. Okay, it doesn't have to be the super long one here. It can be a shorter version. All right, let me just adjust my mat here. You want to be sitting on it. Okay, so lift your bum up. Okay, hands behind. So right now our hips are facing forward. You're going to rotate your hips. Okay, so let's face me here. So you're rotating, so I'm on my right butt cheek. Okay, your right butt cheek. And you just roll that right butt cheek like it's a ball of dough. It's not a ball of dough, but that's kind of what it feels like. Kind of rolling it out like you're making bread. Good, rolling it out. Make sure you are not on your tailbone. That's the word. Tailbone. You do not want to be on your tailbone. You want to be on the meaty part of your buttocks. Your cheek. Rolling up and down. If you want it more intense, because you never know, take that bottom leg, which is my left leg, cross it over my right leg, and rolling it out. And feel free. Sometimes I like to make circles. There's some good little pressure points in there that can get rolled out. Oh yeah, there we go. Good. Yeah, tipping over more kind of gets into your hip a little more. There's some good little, tight little bits in there too. So there's no right or wrong other than if it hurts just way too much. And if it does hurt way too much, just take breaks or just hold it and try to breathe through it, okay? Or just come off the foam roller. Give yourself a moment. Because if you haven't done fascial stretching, this could be painful. But if this is something that you're used to doing, it's definitely less painful. The more you do it, the less it hurts. The less you do it, the more it hurts. Have you ever heard that before? You might have heard me say that before. Good. All right. And release. Let's switch over to the other side. Yeah, it's a little bit of pressure on your arms and shoulders for sure. And make sure your shoulders aren't right at your ears, right? You want to be pushing down on that floor. So turning your hip over to the other side. Yeah, you definitely want to have your feet and your hands on the floor if you want to make it easier. The moment you start lifting your legs up, you're adding more weight to that foam roller, right? Hence, crossing that bottom leg over intensifies the stretch. Okay, guys? Yeah, you can make circles. Go exploring. Explore your body. See what you find. It's like hunting for gold. Wish there was gold down there. Yeah, rolling around. That's it. Keeping those shoulders down away from those ears. Take breaks if you need them. Good. I should probably do a time check because this is supposed to be a 30-minute class. All right, and let's drop that leg and come on down. Let me do a little time check here. Oh, we got 4 minutes. Okay, we're gonna stretch out the fronts of the legs, your thighs with the foam roller, okay? Foam roller right here in front. You're kneeling and you want that foam roller to be the length of your thighs. You never want the foam roller to be on your joints, otherwise your knee joints, okay? So come on down, have it on your thighs. I think I might need to move up. Yeah, there we go. And again, same thing. You want all your limbs, your toes and your hands on the floor. The moment you start lifting them up, you're gonna add extra weight. So right now my legs are parallel and I'm just gonna roll up and down. And the thing with rolling, for most people, when we do this, is they're going to way too fast. The idea is to go slower is better. And if you want to make it more intense, lift your toes up off the floor. And I want you to go the full length of your thighs. Right to your pubic bone, all the way to the top of your knees. Not on top of you, just above your knees. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, and make sure your shoulders were at your ears, pushing down. Okay, don't let your head hang. Yeah, this takes a little bit of work here, for sure. See if you find any good little bits. There we go. Okay, option from here is to have your legs nice and wide with your toes pointing out. And that's going to roll out those inner thighs. See if you find anything interesting there. Yeah, and last but not least is we're going to turn our toes in, okay? Kind of getting more to the outside, or otherwise you can lie on your side and get into that IT band. Not anybody's favorite, to be honest, including me. However, the reason why it hurts so much is because it's so darn tight. And maybe rolling is not an option here. Okay, you can see that I'm in a bit of a pain here. Okay, maybe rolling, maybe just holding it is better. Yeah, just to kind of get that release. And you can also do that with the balls that I showed you. However, I like using that word however today, it's more intense. Definitely the foam roller is less intense. And once you get into the balls that I showed you earlier, it's definitely more intense, okay? Let's not do too much of that because we don't have time. And thank goodness, right? And then let's do the other side, okay? And this is your last stretch for the day. And you're gonna feel like a brand new woman. Yeah, as you can see, this is very painful for me, so I'm barely moving. Just try to relax and breathe through is the idea here, because if it's too intense, you're just holding on to more tension. And when you're holding on to more tension while you're on the foam roller, you're actually creating even more tension. So it's really important to try and relax. Yeah, oh yeah, I found a good spot right there. That's my go-to. And if you have, a lot of times when women have knee pain where you haven't had something traumatic happen, like fall or twist or anything like that, a lot of times it's coming from a tight IT band. Yeah, like myself right here. Oh, there we go. All right, have you had enough of this? We're gonna end there. We're gonna finish up on the IT band. There you go. There is your stretch class with a few pieces of equipment. And I hope you enjoyed that. If you saw it on the replay, please type in replay for me, and we will see you next time. Bye.